This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Good morning. The time right now is 4:27 on your Thursday morning. Thanks for waking up early with us here on RTV6. I'm Lauren Casey. We do want to get to some of our top stories today. First of all, if you're like me, you may have been up late with those storms that moved through overnight. Strong, gusty winds, tornado sirens going off, and damage. This is a look right now in Mooresville, where we know part of a building collapsed there in the main heart of downtown. You can see some of the damage here on your screen, so a scary situation for some of those folks. We know several people are without power this morning, so we're going to be keeping a close eye on those outage maps, and we're also going to be looking at some other spots where we did get some video and pictures of damage from overnight, and obviously people are going to be waking up maybe to find some more damage this morning once the sun comes out. So right now, let's get over to Todd Clausen, because these storms that move through, Todd, those are kind of changing the weather from what we've seen earlier this week.
Yeah, you know, we told you yesterday it was going to be a great day and then a really rough night, and that's exactly what happened. We had reports of hail, we had a couple tornado warnings, no confirmed tornadoes as of yet, and we had all those gusty winds along with the heavy rain. But as you see, it's pretty quiet on Storm Team 6 radar this morning, and you're right, Lauren, we have ushered in a completely new air mass. It's one that's a lot cooler as temperatures are sitting in the 40s and 50s, and throughout the day today, we're really not going to warm much at all. We're only going to see our temperature get back up to right around 50 degrees for your afternoon high. It's still going to be breezy today as well, and that's going to make it feel even cooler. So kind of summer-like yesterday with the warmth and then the storms. Today, more spring-like once again with the cooler temperatures and the need for that jacket if you're going to be out for that walk through the neighborhood.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. We'll check in with you shortly here. We do want to get to the latest on the coronavirus in the state of Indiana. Here's the latest numbers from the state health department. As of yesterday, we had 30 more deaths reported. That brings us to more than 200 total for the state. 439 new cases reported yesterday, and that brings us to almost 6,000 cases. We know that more than 30,000 people have been tested in the state of Indiana. And of course, we always get those updates from the health department around 10 o'clock in the morning. So we'll bring you those latest numbers today and see what kind of news we have as we continue to track this thing. So right now, we do want to talk about the impact that the coronavirus is having on the real estate industry. Our Alyssa Donovan talking to a local realtor about what this means for the housing market that's been really strong here in the Indianapolis area. They do know that they can't do as many of those in-person showings, but a lot of people are turning to videos and virtual tours. So we'll see what this is having on people trying to sell their home, people trying to buy their homes. We'll have that story, plus more news, weather, and traffic coming up right here on Good Morning Indiana.
This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
A long road to recovery will get underway this morning after severe storms causes damage across the state of Indiana. Now at 4:30, we're getting a first-hand look at those hardest hit locations. Plus, the COVID-19 pandemic caused a sudden lack of critical support for children with autism. This morning, we're highlighting the help that's stepping in. And COVID-19 is also having a profound impact on locally owned businesses. My Governor Holcomb says more could be on the way in terms of help for the small businesses. Right now, we do want to welcome you into Good Morning Indiana. It is 4:30 here on our Thursday. Todd Clausen no longer here in the RTV6 studios with me. He is live from his house. So Todd, looking good this morning down in the basement. What is going on in terms of our forecast? A wild night.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people were in their basements yesterday evening when those tornado warnings were issued for parts of Marion County and Johnson County, and rightfully so. This is where you would normally go, and now it's the makeshift weather center here in my household in the basement. But it's all quiet this morning. That's the good news. It's still breezy. You'll hear that wind whipping around. But as far as the storms go, you can see we're pretty quiet on Storm Team 6 radar. A little bit of cloud cover out there yet, but that will be moving out. And the good news is today, at least, we will have some sunshine in the forecast. The storms from last night now quickly racing off towards the Washington, D.C. area. To the west, you see it's pretty quiet and there's not a whole lot going on, at least weather-wise. We're still in the process, though, of cooling down. We're in the 40s and 50s. These temperatures will continue to drop another couple degrees here as we work our way throughout the course of the morning hours, and then we'll rebound back up to right around 50 degrees later on this afternoon with those partly cloudy skies. But wind gusts today, still probably about 30 to 40 40 miles per hour. So that is significant. We'll talk more about the wind and also the potential for temperatures near freezing by tomorrow morning coming up in Maine weather in just a few minutes. Lauren.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. Let's take a look at your roads right now as you're heading out the door. This is I-70 near Sherman Drive. You can see traffic here is moving along up to speed, both eastbound and westbound. No delays to slow you down. So let's take you over to our west, I-70 here, a little east of State Road 267. You can see traffic is moving along just fine, but the camera bouncing around a little bit. We still have some gusty winds out there this morning. You'll notice that on your drive into work early this morning. Be cautious in any local spots as we do have a number of power outages, and that could cause some traffic lights to be out or flashing this morning. Of course, we'll keep you updated on any major trouble spots throughout the day, but let's talk about those power outages. This morning, thousands of people across Indiana are still in the dark. The power knocked out by last night's storms. The latest numbers here from Duke Energy show nearly 68,000 people without power. More than 19,000 of those customers are in Hamilton County. Duke officials say the power should be back on in Hamilton County by 8 o'clock this morning. This morning, IPL is also reporting thousands of people without power. At the height of the storm, more than 27,000 people did not have electricity. At this hour, a little more than 18,000 people remain in the dark. IPL officials tell us it could take several hours to get everything turned back on. Well, last night's storm packed quite a punch across central Indiana, and this here is video from Mooresville, where at least 4 buildings, we can tell you, in the heart of the town were damaged. Mooresville police say that the second floor of one building was blown off. This morning, we're told that the building housed a jewelry store and another business. The building next door had some apartments in it as well, and it might have sustained some damage. The town council president says cleanup will take some time.
Well, it's going to be a while to rebuild, but I'm extremely proud of our first responders, and as of this moment, I'm being told that there's no injuries and certainly no deaths at this point, and we're very thankful for that.
Police tell us a Newby Elementary School on the town's west side was also damaged. This morning, we're still waiting word from school officials to just how badly the building damage was. And we are getting new video this morning of the damage storms caused in Franklin. Officers on the scene tell us that debris was blown off the top of the Jefferson Street pub, hitting the Government East Annex. It also appears that the strong winds blew off an awning. Officials say they'll inspect the East Annex once the sun comes up to determine if there's any damage to the top of the building. So far, no injuries have been reported. And then take a look here. This is a picture from Bartholomew County. A semi-truck traveling northbound on 65 near Columbus turned over in the storms that moved through last night. State police say the driver was taken to the hospital for injuries. That road has since reopened. Now, we do want to get to the latest on the coronavirus and its impact on lives all across the Hoosier state. This morning, the state health department reports 30 additional deaths, bringing Indiana's total to 203. 439 more Hoosiers have tested positive, closing in on 6,000 cases. State health leaders say nearly 31,000 Hoosiers have been tested. This morning, nearly 15,000 Americans have died from the coronavirus. As ABC's Mona Kosar-Abdi reports, there's new concern about some hotspots emerging in Washington, D.C. and Philadelphia.
Despite the new death toll in the epicenter of this pandemic, a glimmer of hope.
There's no doubt that we are now bending the curve. The bad news isn't just bad. The bad news is actually terrible.
New York setting another one-day death toll record, 779 people. And the governor saying that number will rise as more patients struggling in the hospital lose their fight. But this morning, the infection rate appears to be slowing in New York. Some hospitals now releasing more patients than they're admitting. As New York shows signs of flattening the curve, other potential hotspots are being closely watched, including the Washington, D.C. metro area, Baltimore, and Philadelphia. A leading model now predicts 60,000 Americans will die in the pandemic by August. That's down significantly from the 100 to 240,000 it predicted just weeks ago. Doctors credit social distancing and saying we can't let up.
You redo your models depending upon your data. And our data is telling us that mitigation is working.
But as Americans wonder when life will get back to normal, a sobering message from one expert.
We're not going to get back to normal, the sort of before COVID, the BC kind of normal, where we go traveling, we go to restaurants, we go to concerts, we go to religious services, we go on cruises, until we have a vaccine that protects everyone. That's 18 months. It's not going to be sooner.
In the meantime, there's new hope for a potential coronavirus treatment now in the works.
It's a pill that blocks the coronavirus from attaching to lung cells in test tubes. It could be used to both treat and prevent COVID-19, and it is set to start clinical trials in humans this spring.
Mona Kosarabdi, ABC News, New York.
It is 4:37. RTV6 is hiring Hoosiers, staying on top of all the ways the coronavirus outbreak is impacting Indiana's workforce. Governor Holcomb says more help for Indiana businesses may be on the way to keep more Hoosiers on the job. The governor says he's in constant contact with the federal government to provide more financial help for Hoosiers. He says on the phone call this week, Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin indicated more assistance could be on the way to help small businesses continue to pay their staff or even rehire furloughed employees.
This is very important for Indiana, for our small businesses to continue to employ their workers right now. So when we do come out of this, their team, their experienced team is already in place on the ground, not waiting.
The funding could come on April 24th. The governor plans to reveal more on Friday during the state's coronavirus press conference. Well, children with autism and other special needs and their families, they're dealing with additional challenges these days. The loss of that constant schooling and therapy. Children's regression can be immeasurable at this time without schooling for critical development. On top of teaching and being a resource and source of strength for her children, parents like Kristen Tierdoro must now become her son's teacher, speech therapist, and occupational therapist every day. Her 4-year-old son is on the autism spectrum and is nonverbal.
Like the daily teaching, activities I could do, but the therapy, that's something that, I almost wish that they could come to the house, but they can't. So he's losing that, and we don't know how long he'll lose it. So that's a little scary.
Groups like Autism Speaks are filling in for the sudden lack of support systems, offering online programs for school-based services, clinical care, and help coping with disrupted routines to get families through this crisis. You can find a link to those resources at our website, theindychannel.com. At 4:39, the Indiana Department of Transportation is now allowing food trucks to operate at rest stops around the Hoosier state. In order to operate, the food trucks need to be permitted through Indiana. The change comes as a lot of truck drivers report limited availability of food and beverages. INDOT will issue 2 permits for 2 food trucks to operate daily from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. The permits are valid until canceled by INDOT or until the federal emergency status is lifted. We have the information you need to apply for a food truck permit right now on the RTV6 app. The first stimulus checks should go out within the next few days. Still ahead why 1/3 of Americans say the checks may not be enough to help them. And RTV6 is highlighting local businesses still open and ready to serve you. Ahead this morning, the Speedway business ready for you to swing by for some fresh salads and soups. Todd.
And the good news is, Lauren, that the storms from yesterday are now well off to our east in the Washington, D.C. area. We are still dealing with windy conditions, though. Parts of the area under a wind advisory. We'll talk about today's forecast and look ahead to Easter weekend as well when Good Morning Indiana continues. The time now is 4:40. Stay with us. We're back in just a few minutes.
Days from 4:30 to 7.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. The time right now is 4:43, and we're keeping a close eye on traffic this morning. This is I-70, a little east of State Road 267. Camera bouncing around in the breeze this morning. We had those storms move through overnight, so keep an eye out for any storm damage that you may encounter on your drive to work this morning. You can see traffic here is traveling up to speed both eastbound and westbound. Well, Bernie Sanders has ended his presidential campaign. His campaign says the Vermont senator made the announcement on a call with his campaign staff. The move clears former Vice President Joe Biden's path to the Democratic nomination in a showdown with President Trump in the general election. The nomination appeared his for the taking until on last day of February, Biden surged to a blowout victory in South Carolina. The win set off a consolation of moderate voters around Biden, and the health crisis halted in-person campaigning for both Sanders and Biden. That prompted many states to delay their primary elections. Stimulus checks could start coming out this week, and while some people say they're grateful for the help. Some also say it's not nearly enough. In a recent bank rate survey, 31% of the people who are expecting checks say that the money won't even last a month. 8% said it won't help them at all. Half of the people surveyed say that they'll use the money to catch up on bills. About a third say that they'll put it in savings. Lawmakers in Washington are already working on a possible fourth stimulus bill, which could make more money available. Folks in Arkansas are cleaning up this morning after a tornado tore through the state. A TV crew caught this tornado in Poinsett County live on the air. Authorities say the home was leveled, cars were overturned, and several injuries have been reported there. Large hail up to 2 inches was seen in the area. The Storm Prediction Center says that's about the size of a hen egg. Back here at home, take a look at this video. This was up in Carmel during the height of Wednesday night storms. Carmel Fire Department took this video while responding to an emergency call in engine 341. Firefighters say driving during the storms was not fun, but they say the lack of cars on the road made driving through the treacherous weather a little bit easier. Carmel Fire says numerous trees and power lines were knocked down. They say the worst of the storm appeared to be north of 146th Street. And Todd, I gotta say, we took the kid, went in the closet. It got pretty bad down there in Greenwood last night, around the time I was trying to go to bed to come to work this morning. And I know that was the case for Raphael and Franklin as well, and a lot of folks all over the area.
Yeah, and here in Marion County for me as well, you know, I got the wind gust first, and then all of a sudden got the hail, and then the rain, and all the lightning came through, and then the tornado sirens went off. So yeah, the closet, if you don't have a basement, is the place to be. And so a lot of people did retreat, but the good news is, as you mentioned with the Carmel Fire Department, there are not a lot of people on the roads. Everybody was home, and we were able to get into their safe place. And thankfully, while there was some minor damage, we didn't have any tornado reports as of yet. We'll have to see if that holds. Now, it's quiet this morning. That is the good news. We do have a wind advisory that's in effect for parts of the area, and that's just mainly to the north here up in Peru. If you're outside of the actual wind advisory, it's still going to be breezy today with some wind gusts that'll be up near 40 miles per hour. Look in Bloomington, obviously dark, can't see a whole lot, but the temperatures are sitting currently in the 50s and the 40s across the area. And as we work our way throughout the course of the day today, we're going to see these temperatures not really do a whole lot. We're going to stay right around 50 degrees in Bloomington as well as Muncie as we go throughout the course of the day. And those temperatures may dip just a little bit as we work our way into the course of the afternoon hours before they come back up. But here's how it plays out hour by hour on TrueCast. And you can see as we work our way into the morning hours, well, partly cloudy skies still staying in the 40s. Once we progress into the afternoon, that's when we get back up to that 50-degree mark, and then we'll just stay there throughout the afternoon hours. And by the time we get to about 5 p.m., we're still looking at partly cloudy skies, 50 degrees. When you factor in the wind, though, it is going to feel a little bit cooler than that. So you got to make sure you have the jacket if you are going to be out and about. Storm Team 6 radar, thankfully nice and quiet. There's no real threat of any rainfall throughout the course of the day today, which is what we need after yesterday's round of heavier rainfall. And then as you look, those storms are now well off to our east as we see them rushing towards parts of Washington, D.C. and to the west. There's really not a whole lot going on. So this evening, if you do have plans, we are going to see temperatures in the 40s. There could be a few spot showers this evening, but nothing really to write home about. But look at these temperatures come tomorrow morning. We're only going to be down into the 30s. We're going to be right around freezing. So it's going to be a shock to the system. All the spring flowers out there definitely not going to like things. And then as we look ahead to tomorrow's forecast, we're looking at a day once again with temperatures that will be in the 40s across the area with skies that'll be partly cloudy. Looking ahead to the weekend, 56 on Saturday, partly sunny skies. As we work our way into Sunday on Easter, we'll have the potential for some scattered showers across the area. At this point, it doesn't look to be a washout, which is good news. And it's a little bit warmer with that high of 60 degrees. But we've definitely flipped a script here from the spring-like air we've had for the past week or so, Lauren, to more of a cooler weather pattern that's going to be in place for at least the next 7 to 10 days.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Here's a look right now at your commute as you're heading out the door early this morning. This is on the northwest side, I-65, a view from the pedestrian overpass. This is just a little north of 30th Street. You can see traffic here is pretty quiet. quiet and everything's traveling up to speed. So let's give you another live look this morning as you're heading out on the roads. This is US 31, a little south of 116th Street, 2 hour north. If you're driving in Carmel, north side, really anywhere around central Indiana, watch for any storm damage or traffic lights out due to power outages that we're tracking this morning. Well, RTV6 is focusing on all types of businesses open and ready to serve you. Many of them are restaurants working to keep their doors open through carryout options. The Famous Tomato is a small fresh produce market in Speedway, and it's open right now. The family-owned business offers fresh salad, a soup bar, and sells old-fashioned soda and sauces. The Ray family has been in business for years, and the struggle to stay open right now is all too fresh of a reminder of the recession from 2008.
We obviously want to save the business. That's the main goal, because I've been on the other end during the recession several years ago, and we lost a 39-year-old family business. So I don't want to do that. A little different situation, I hope. There was no help for small business back then. I don't know if I can get that, or, I'm going to try, obviously.
The family business he referred to that they lost was the Old Farm Market in Avon. Famous Tomato is open 10 to 7 Monday through Saturday for carryout of fresh salads and soup. They're located at West 10th Street and Winton Avenue in Speedway. IndyCar fans are still waiting for the first green flag of the season to drop. Just ahead this morning how the company behind IndyCar is doing their part to keep fans safe during the coronavirus outbreak. Plus, the coronavirus impacting nearly every industry, including real estate. New at 5 o'clock, we're talking to experts about what you should do if you're trying to buy or sell a home. The time right now is 4:50. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Live on CourtTV.com.
Welcome back. Leave it to the racing community to be among those to react to the need to fight against COVID-19. Dave First tells us about the Speedway company stepping up to help the community.
You've seen what they make, the IndyCar chassis, one of the most recognizable race cars in the world. But it's what Dallara is doing inside this building in Speedway, which is being more recognized than ever.
At what point did you think, hey, we can help some people here?
Basically, whenever you're facing some emergency time, there's something, you're becoming more and more creative.
Inside the Dallara building in Speedway, Stefano DePonte and his crew are cutting material to be used for masks and gowns, material coming from Stitchworks in Indy, with finished products headed to Eskenazi Hospital.
Do you have any idea how long you'll be doing this, or whatever's needed is what's needed here?
I'm trying to help as much as I can, as much as they need it.
These machines usually cut carbon fiber cloth used in race car and aerospace components for a company that has gone all in. Back in its headquarters in Italy, where the coronavirus continues to hit hard, the company's namesake, Giampaolo Dallara, has directed the development of a new mask, which could help victims early on.
We are receiving components to put at least a sample, a prototype here at Dallara USA, and give it to somebody who wants to try to see if it can be of any beneficial.
A group race fans usually see, but rarely hear from.
As a fan of motorsports and someone who's deeply involved in this sport, could you ever have dreamed of doing something like this in such a needy time like this?
Honestly, no. I think I was talking to my boss yesterday, which is very, obviously, Mr. Dallara is very concerned and worried, of course, like all the businessmen with employees' responsibilities.
Bottom line, do you feel like you're making a difference, Stefano?
I want to go back like everyone else in our business to meet people at the racetrack and go back to normal.
Making a difference safely and quickly. It's the Dallara way. Day First, RTV6 Sports.
All right, here's your 7-day planning forecast. Cooler and breezy today. Could be a spot shower in the afternoon, 50 degrees, 49 on Friday with a mixture of sun and clouds. Saturday, mostly sunny skies, 56 as we go into Easter weekend. Some showers on Easter Sunday with a high temperature right around 60 degrees. And then as we get to next week, still remaining below normal with high temperatures only right around 50 degrees. Stay with Good Morning Indiana. We're back here in just a few minutes.